Hey guys, Artis Eisen here, and we're back to Really Fatal Bullet. This is Subway A, the first dungeon of the third area, which is called the Old South. This dungeon is also a combat-free dungeon. Well, it can be. So I was wrong when I said the other one was unique. There's actually 3 combat-free dungeons. You start right out in the boss room, but you don't actually have to fight him. You just have to hit these 9 switches, some of which I can never remember the locations of for some reason. But anyway, yeah, you're kind of encouraged to not fight the boss. He's stronger than you would normally be able to handle at this point in the game, and he's definitely stronger than I can handle right now. So I just avoid him because I don't want to die like 500 times trying to beat a boss that's above what I can deal with at this point. The room has like mines and stuff. It's got like traps. I guess I could potentially, I didn't think about this before, but you could probably shoot those, yeah, see, I almost die in one hit. You could probably shoot those barrels to, like, I don't know if it would knock him over, but if he's near them. I don't know if that was, like, a thing they threw in because it'd be cool, or if it's something to screw you over if you're trying to, like, hide. He shoots a fireball, because he has a fireball attack. Okay, yeah, I think that's the last switch up there. Neat. Yeah, it was. Anyway, that's literally the whole dungeon. There is nothing else to it. It's just... Oh, there's the fire attack. And then they force us into cutscenes and crap. I don't know if I even showed my stats in this. It's pretty pointless because I didn't fight anything. Okay, yeah, there we go. We're gonna be getting a new weapon soon. Not this... Okay, here we go. Subway B. Is the other combat-free dungeon. That's the last one. There's some side stuff in here. You have to fight stuff if you want to access, but this dungeon is structured like a maze of teleporters. Sort of. It's not actually that complex. The teleporters just, like... There's a certain path that would be the fastest. I don't actually know what it is. I haven't really spent much time experimenting. I've only been through this dungeon twice. Once on my first playthrough, and then once here. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I had another attempt at a... Oh, there's a switch in there that I just ran right past. I do that almost every time. I had another attempt at a solo base stats run before, which I've mentioned a couple times. That was the one where it took the Piercing Eyes boss like 27 minutes. And I stopped that one at Outskirts Facility because it was pretty much impossible. So this is the first encounter you guys will see with the mech-type enemy. They suck a lot, and they sucked even more until I realized you could actually dodge their stomps with a jump, which sounds obvious, but considering my first experience with that attack had me being knocked down from an elevation higher than the mech, like higher than the top of its head, I feel like I'm kind of justified in not realizing that was a thing. I was like, well, why would going up make any difference? And yes, there is a distinction between jumping and just being up, but yeah, it's stupid that works when being above them doesn't. That's just really questionable. Anyway, we're now with the boss of Subway B, and it's another spider tank enemy, so you know what that means. You don't? Oh, well, it means we loop him. That beam is a one-shot. Just hide behind the little ramp. The easiest way to avoid the Gatling is to jump in the pit, because he'll be done. He'll just stop, because he can't target you once you're in the pit, so as far as he knows, you don't exist. So, the AI in this game, all of it, literally all of the enemy and boss AI, well, at least the boss AI, all works the same. They pick a target at random and pick an attack based on some criteria specific to the boss. And they all have basically 2 modes. I refer to these modes as search and destroy. So basically, search is the progress of tracking down a target that they previously had. And destroy is obviously whenever they're using an attack. they cannot queue up attacks while using attacks. They can't transition immediately from an attack into another attack. They have to have a very brief idle period first. What this generally means is that you want to keep bosses in the destroy state, I guess, as long as possible, because if they were in search for too long, they might try and do something else, and we'll see that later with the gatekeeper. You always want to keep him in the destroy phase, because after a certain amount of time in the search phase, they'll start pursuing you, and you don't... Generally, if you're using any kind of cover, you don't want that. This boss will walk away from you. The spider tanks will always walk away from you. I've never seen a spider tank walk towards me. And honestly, that makes sense because their only melee attack is just crash. The real dangers are their Gatling and beam/missile. I would argue the Gatling is worse to deal with if you don't have a pit to run into, which we didn't in shooting phase, but... And actually, we almost died from the Gatling at the very beginning in that fight. I actually have like a massive info dump on the boss AI in the Fatal Bullet Reddit Discord, but it's pretty far back now, so have fun finding that. You can probably just search for it. I don't really use Discord much, I don't like know the ins and outs. This is a pretty long fight. Like I said, bullet spongy bosses. But at least you have my voice to entertain you the whole time. But he's down to his last sixth of health. The bosses, there are a few bosses that have like different patterns that they'll use, or not really different patterns, but they'll just add a couple new attacks, and those usually happen at thirds and sixths because all of the bosses have 3 health bars for some reason. I don't really know why they went with 3, but they went with 3, so there you go. I would have done 4 personally because 50% and 25% just make more sense as intervals in my eyes. But I guess 3 does look sleeper. And we got a weapon we're not going to be using. That's pretty par for the course. I believe it's only a rank 2 anyway. So the first thing you should notice is that we now have a new weapon. We have a sniper rifle. It's a rank 3 Al-Nasr, heavily upgraded. And we are fighting probably the 3rd hardest boss in a base stats solo run. Off the top of my head, maybe 2nd actually. Yeah, he's really hard. So this flying type of enemy, I don't know what they're actually supposed to be called. I call them butterflies, because sniper butterflies. They are trivial if you have cover, and kind of a rough proposition if you don't. This guy in particular is troublesome because of the AoE on his rockets, which are a 2-shot, and then his dash attack, which is always a 1-shot and has a really broken hitbox if you're not on perfectly flat ground. I don't know why perfectly flat ground changes it, but it does. And then those things, I guess I would call them options, to use shmup terminology. Those do about 1400 damage apiece. And I think I have like 1600 health, and they all hit in the same spot, so you're always getting hit by at least 2. Pretty much everything in this fight is either near instant death or instant death. It's kind of rough. And you might ask why I don't just use the avoid instant death accessories. Well, I would like to be able to kill the boss in a reasonable amount of time, and either way I have to survive for an additional minute in order to get my health back anyway. It just strikes me as far more feasible to only have to play perfectly for 6 minutes instead of fighting him with like the starter gun, which is what I would otherwise have to fight him with. And have the fight take like, I don't know, 20 minutes, and I would question whether I even have enough ammo to do that. One thing that's annoying is that as you increase the weapon ranks, the stat requirements become higher, so if you try to upgrade the starter gun, you won't be able to use it anymore. Sometimes he uses the dash attack in midair. I don't know why. Like, it's not like players can fly. This isn't Lost Song. Thank God. Man, that game was disappointing. I went into that right off God Eater, and I was like... And God Eater is not, like, a stellar game by any means. Oh, there we go. Look, see? Look at all that damage. But, like, God Eater is basically a mashier Monster Hunter. But, like, it's reasonably solid. And I was like, yeah, Bandai Namco, this should be good, right? Yeah, it's just got really clunky, awkward combat. And this is coming from somebody who, like... spends a lot of time playing, like, Dark Souls, Kingdom Hearts, games that have often been described as having clunky combat. Not Kingdom Hearts 2, obviously. Kingdom Hearts 1 is a little bit clunky, mostly in movement, not so much the combat. Although a lot of people think it means clunky combat if you can't, like, cancel out of everything. Or at least that's the impression I get. I don't actually know. Anyway, this boss doesn't actually have that many attacks. I think he's got, like, 3. It's just that all of them have pretty tight timing to dodge because you don't get iframes on rolls, and I die from almost any of them in one hit. The attack I got hit by is the only one I can get hit by. And live. And if I got hit again now, I would still die. Because my first aid kit expired. And I'm not at a high enough health to actually survive another hit. But yeah, almost dead. This guy took me at least half an hour of straight attempts. Most of them didn't make it past the first bar. But the thing is, since he uses the same attacks the whole time, once you... Oh, right, yeah, we have better, accessories now. We have a plus 18 strength and a plus 2 vitality, plus 20 dex. I really lucked out on that one. And I believe that's the only way to use that sniper rifle. So now we're at the final area of the Old South, or at least the final one that we can access right now. The Abandoned Road. There is only one room in this entire dungeon where combat is necessary. I just run past everything else. And we're going to be using the sniper as our primary weapon now, because not only does it have just, you know, range, because it's a sniper rifle, it is almost universally better than the pistol we were using before, despite being a rank lower. Handguns are not good because of their, like, base damage output. They are good because of the skills they can use, like Quick Shot, which I can't use because none of those can be learned at base stats. And I may not have mentioned this before, but accessory stat bonuses do not count towards skill learning requirements. You can't just get all of your skills from wearing fancy accessories. And I don't know why they don't let you do that. They should let you learn them, but not equip them until you have the proper stats. That would, you know, actually improve, like, build variety. Well, it wouldn't really improve build variety. I don't know what it would improve, but it would be a lot more interesting, and my life would have sucked less on this run. That's really... I'm a little bit bitter about that. Mostly because of some later bosses, like Wary Hierophant, who I still haven't beaten solo, actually, even as of recording this. That's what I meant when I said the run was 90% recorded. I have beaten him at base stats, but not base stats solo. Anyway, this is the only combat requiring room in the game. As you can see, the spider tank enemy AI manipulation works on the regular ones as well. They're not coded exactly the same way, because these ones are a lot less motion happy. They don't really make that much of an effort to get away from you. But, like, similar tactics do work. The only tactic that really matters works. I'm pretty sure there's a fast travel point in that thing off to the left. I don't know why, because this is basically the end of the dungeon. I think there might be an optional boss over there or something. I'm not totally sure. But anyway, we're into the last boss of the Old South, and it is actually from the Gun Gale Online anime, I think? I haven't really seen it, but I've seen screenshots. It's called Ghost Pet. It's like a thing that Sinon kills for like a sniper rifle or something. Anyway, this boss's pathing is atrocious, and I swear it's... You know, I was talking about Search and Destroy earlier as the different AI phases. This one's search phase is either just bugged or really horribly implemented. And I'll get to that in a second when I get to a point in the fight where that's actually demonstrated. But for right now, we're exploiting his destroy loop, because as long as you can keep doing this, he'll probably keep firing at you, for a while at least. So, I believe it's right here. He does not know what to do if you're behind cover on the other side of him. He has no idea. He can't do anything, he'll just, like, turn around and walk away. It's kind of hilarious, actually. I don't know why that's how he's programmed. He could walk around and try to find you, but it's like, no, I'm just gonna run away. And because of that, he's completely trivial to beat, regardless of your setup. Like, again, base stats solo, he's not hard. I think I died once because I didn't realize you could loop him, and then once I realized you could loop him, he was trivial. The one death that did happen is actually in the announcement video, where I got launched flying by his ramming attack. But yeah, that's literally all you need to fight this boss is, oh, well, I guess I can stand behind walls every so often. It's a little bit sad, I guess, how not almost all, but a lot of the bosses in this game are only beatable like this because of their really awful AI. And as somebody who has actually programmed better AI than this, it makes me a little sad. And probably in less time too, but then again, I wouldn't know. For those unaware, which is probably most of you at this point, because this is something I did a long time ago before I had a YouTube channel, I actually programmed a copy of Terranort's AI that was, I think, about 90% accurate to the original. I don't have graphical representation, obviously, because I don't have the models, nor do I know how to actually animate. Like, that's not in my skill set, but I do have, essentially, a copy of his AI, and then I modified that to make my own. It's like the combination of determinism, randomness, and reactivity that KH2 boss AI is so... what makes KH2 boss AI kind of exceptional in my eyes. And something that more games should strive to have. I mean, to say I see that as the pinnacle would be kind of an understatement. It's part of why I spent like a year learning as much as I could about those games. Which is also kind of why I'm taking a break right now, because a year is a long time to spend on one franchise. Unless you're a speedrunner, but I'm not a speedrunner, and I probably never will be, because I don't want to play the same game over and over, with the only difference being how much faster I go. Not to minimize what speedrunners do, I think it's awesome, but I could never do it. It's kind of like being a doctor, like, I think that's really cool, but I couldn't do it. Too squeamish for that. So anyway, here we're exploiting his destroy loop again. You know, actually, come to think of it, I wonder if the people who do speedruns of this game, however many there are, know about some of these strats. Although, since a lot of them only work solo, I would imagine they don't, because why would you speedrun this game solo? It's so much riskier, even if it's not actually that much slower. Because your allies do, like, no damage. The only cases where I think it would matter is if they can stun bosses with electrodynamic stunner. And then you can get 3 hits on their weak points more easily. And why would you not want that? Or Blaze, like Straya can inflict Blaze, a couple others can. I mostly just used the same team my whole first playthrough. I think it was Asuna, Philia, and Straya. Asuna and Philia because their luck stats were high, Asuna because she had healing, and Straya because she was a tank. You should always have a tank. If you aren't a tank, then you need a tank. Incidentally, I don't have one now, but that's a separate problem. As it turns out, though, Silica's a better healer. She just doesn't start as a tank. I didn't know this at the time, because, you know, it's the first time through the game. Actually, I should clarify. I started a my first base stats solo run before I actually beat the game on the regular playthrough. I actually was like, huh, well, I'm doing fine without raising all of my stats immediately as I get them, so what if I could beat the game without that? And then I tried it and was pleasantly surprised and also horrified for a while. Like shooting Phage, for example, the one I manipulated the crap out of in the first video. It took me like 25 minutes to realize that was a thing. Actually, I don't know if it was that long, but it took me a number of tries, probably like 12 to 15 attempts. So I mean, this stuff wasn't like automatic, it's just that, you know, my background in KH2 challenge play and AI writing stuff was kind of enough for me to bridge connections that were just like, oh, well, I can probably manipulate his AI, and now I think about everything like that. Like, how can I break this boss? Not how can I... Well, that is my fun, I guess. I was gonna say, like, not how I have fun with it, but that is... I find that incredibly fun. Like, stomping these ridiculous things into the dust. Not because I'm strong, but because I know enough to just trivialize them. It's funny. It's funny to me. Anyway, this boss's bad pathing is pretty much his undoing, so... Goodbye, Ghost Pet. We don't get a... Actually, yeah, we probably get a sniper rifle. But I'm not going to use it, because I probably don't have the stats for it. The sniper I'm using is the only rank 3 sniper I can use. The other ones that I could use are all rank 2. So that's it for this video. Don't die. RT Sizen signing off.